Good evening, everyone. Welcome into tonight's live. Today is Sunday, June the 2nd, the first Sunday of June. We're going to go over a couple of news first through Forex Factory, and then we're going to jump on the charts. On the charts, we're going to go through indices first. I always do NAS 100. NAS is usually what I trade. And then we'll go on to metals and then finish off with Forex pairs. Now, this past week was a pretty rough week for us, right? It was very choppy, a lot of range, a lot of price action doing just whatever the hell it wants to do. Last week is pretty much like a prime example of price action is going to do whatever it wants at the end of the day. So I did end up taking a few bad trades throughout the week, mostly due to the fact that price action was just a little bit screwy. This week we're going to see what the market holds for us. We're going to start off by going through the news. Red folder news is usually what we're looking for, volatility. So if you're a new trader, avoid it at all costs. If you're an experienced trader, you usually use that volatility to help you out in your trades. But even so, you don't go into it at the exact moment that the news opens. You usually wait for it to calm down a little bit and see if your technical analysis was actually correct all along. And then you look for a proper entry into that and then just follow the volatility to take you to your take profit. Now, without further ado, let's go over the news for this week. So, Sunday, I usually do not trade the Asian session. I am located in the Eastern session, New York session, right? So, what is going on for today? We don't see anything really going on. No red folder news. We see a bank holiday for the Kiwi, New Zealand, right over here during the Asian session, which is now. Tomorrow, Monday, we do have red folder for the USD on a Monday, which is good, right? That's going to give us a little bit of volatility added into the Monday price action, usually kind of like ranges. We have red folder right after market open at 9:45 a.m. Market opens at 9:30 a.m. here Eastern Standard Time, New York session. And then you also have another red folder news 30 minutes after the market session opens, right? We're going to keep an eye on that for Monday. Monday's going to be a nice day. Tuesday, what do we see? London session, CHF, red folder news. Followed by 10 a.m. on USD, New York session, 30 minutes after market open. Aussie, we're going to see Aussie, New York session, Aussie in the Asian session, red folder news, Aussie dollar. Wednesday, what do we see for Wednesday? Wednesday, an hour and 15 minutes before the market open, we have NFE, non-farm employment. Then we have at 9:45 a.m. Canadian dollar and then the USD as an orange. But then we also have at 10 a.m. half an hour after the market open, USD, followed by an hour after market open, Canadian dollar, red folder news. Thursday, we're looking at red folder on Euro, but overlapping the New York session right before it opens at 8:15 a.m., an hour and 15 minutes before the market opened for New York. 8:30, 1 hour before New York open, we see USD red folder. And then we see 15 minutes after that, Euro red folder. Friday, we see red folder an hour before New York session open in the Canadian dollar twice. And then you also see USD 3 times. All right, without further ado, let's jump on the charts. So what are we looking at here? We are looking at NAS on the daily chart. All right, I do have my EZAlgo enabled right now. Let me take that off, clean it up a little bit for you. What do we see over here? We did hit an all-time high over here. I have it marked at 19,023.25, as you can see here on the right. We see it try to seek it again, but fail to close above it. And then we see price action come right back down. On the daily, we do not have a market structure shift, but you will see that on the 4-hour, we did get a market structure shift. So with that, we'll be looking for bearish entries on the lower time frames. On the daily, we do have this area here, which I already marked out. This area here is 18706.5. And then that's going to be a bearish fair value gap on the daily. Now we're going to keep an eye on this level because it's very close to our price action where it's at right now. And then if we run our fibs from all-time high to over here, you're going to see it's just right above the 0.5 and right below the 0.62. But if you ignore this wick and you go to like this market structure over here, it's kind of close, right? We do market structure to market structure. But I mean, this wick kind of technically, you know, is part of the market structure. And then you'll see here that it overlaps the 0.62 with that. So then that looks actually like a good entry if we're counting this wick. For me, this is probably like one of the very few instances where I have such a massive wick and I'm counting that as part of the market structure. So we'll see how that plays out. So for now, we kind of have an overlap with the 0.62 and the fair value gap 50% mark over here, which is 18,706.5. So we're looking at that. We're going to label this. Let's lock this down. We can remove that. Let's label you daily fair value gap 50%. Make it caps and keep it nice and clean. Daily U. Daily fair value gap 50% mark. Cool. Locked in. Let's check this out on the 4 hour. 4 hours is going to give us a nice little indication of the price action. The fact that we broke through this fair value gap like that, even though we didn't close below it, this is already mitigated. There's nothing really going to hold this back. So I'm waiting for price action to come and test out this area and just completely destroy it. And then probably bounce off this order block. But even the order block itself is mitigated. This is insane. Look where that tapped in. That would have been an incredible entry if I had seen that. I got to start looking more into like the daily time frames. Because I could have set a limit order right there. The order block would have respected it completely. And then just shoot complete retracement after that. It's always good to see, you know, daily time frame, daily 4 hour, 15 minute, and get some confluences down the way, especially on the daily. That's incredible. I wasn't expecting that, honestly. That's why I didn't even look at that. I was expecting like over here for this 4 hour fair value gap, but it completely destroyed it. It went right through it, went to that order block right there. But it is what it is. That's what price action did. Daily fair value gap bearish. We're looking for bearish entries. 4 hour time frame. Let's jump in it. 4 hour, we have a market structure shift right up here at 18,843.25. All right, this looks a lot cleaner, right? So even if I draw the OTE fibs here, this looks a lot better than that gigantic wick that we were looking at. Now, as you can see over here, that 0.62, which is a daily fair value gap 50% mark, also overlaps with this order block here in the 4 hour, right? So I always like to have entries. Now, before I didn't, but now I always like to have entries that overlap the fair value gap and the order block together, right? That it's like right there overlapping each other. So that overlap area would be my point of entry. It would make for a nice sweet point of entry actually. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see how price action develops in this line here, 18,706.50. That's a daily, so it means like it can literally wick all the way up here and then retrace all the way back down. And as long as it doesn't close on the daily beyond this, that means it's still valid. So could be pretty wild week ahead for us, right? Especially with price action the way it is and the red folder news that we're gonna get throughout the week. So 4 hour, what do we see on the 4 hour? Not much actually. Everything's been mitigated. Because if we see here at this fair value gap, that's been mitigated. Boom, tapped into it, continuation downwards. Which is pretty wild because let's say we pull OTE fibs. Yeah. Yeah, but that's what it looks like. 4 hour, don't see anything here. Everything else here has been tapped into and mitigated. This area here too. I marked out this area because this area could be a nice area for support. Here you see it's a fair value gap. Fair value gap. It was supposed to be a fair value gap, but these are just two massive displacements, not really the fair value gaps, because this candle is testing out this one. So this candle has something in front of it, and then this bullish candle has something before it. So they're technically not fair value gaps, but they are displacements. Strong displacement down, strong displacement up. Inside this area here, we see this overlap of fair value gap here and displacements there. So pretty interesting zone, actually. Very interesting zone. Let's put an alarm here, because it could actually use his zone to bounce off it and then continue upwards, breaking more all-time highs. Or price action closes below here, uses this as resistance, comes back, tests it out, and then continues downward. We're going to keep a very close eye on that. What does this look like? Is that a fair value gap overlap over here? Yeah, there is. So yeah, this might actually just come back up here, retest, and then continue down. I might actually just put a limit order there. What time is it right now? This could actually tap into it. That's 18,636. It's only got to go up like around 70 because it's at, yeah, like 68. So 704 and then 635. It could do that during the London session. Tap into that and then just complete retracement. Just put some money on it. I'm going to definitely put some money on it. I'm going to put on my... I'm going to put it on my PA account, actually. Let's see how this works out. Where you at? Trade of 8. It can't because it's such a wide. It's not wide enough. You know what? Because I'm trading on the wrong screen. Let's log out of here. Let's go MNQ. So on MNQ, this is where I want to be at. Yep, right there. Let's test you out. Draw the optimal trade entry fibs, right? ICT fibs. Boom, boom. Entry's good. Overlaps with the order block right there. And then this is the market structure over here. That looks good for me. Make sure I'm logged in. Logged in there. Let's create a limit order. Boom. Okay, that limit order is locked in. That's what we're going to be looking at on the 4-hour. Not really going to go down in the lower time frame, but that's what I'm looking at. And then I'm expecting price action to break down through this area here. This 4-hour fair value gap 50% mark. So pretty much I'm looking for price action to tap into here. Probably pull back a little bit into this order block here at this level. And then boom, die down into here. Right? We're going to see how price action develops throughout the week. That's what I'm expecting from it. Just boom, boom, and then just continuation dump down. Right? We're going to see during the London session and the New York session tomorrow, this evening, tomorrow morning. See how that developed. Now let's move on to metals. Gold. I love gold. Gold on the daily. What do we see? Let's see what we see on gold on the weekly. Boom, boom, boom. Right? Uptrend. Uptrend and then pull back over here. Weekly fair value gap over here. 50% mark. 2290. Let's go to daily. What do we see on the daily? What's closest to our price action at the moment? All right. I have this little area here that I'm looking for a short. It's inside this order block here. We can remove that and just leave the order block as is. This is on the daily. What else do we see on the daily? Fair value gap right over here, but it looks like it might have been tapped into and mitigated. Let's find out. We're gonna zoom in a little bit and we're gonna mark out that area. This wick down here, and then this wick down here. Boom, tapped into it and then pulled back hard. Boom, and then boom, boom, dumped. Right? That's what it looks like right now. What else do we see? Don't see much. I don't see a confirmed market structure shift on the daily. But if we go down to the 4 hour, we will see a market structure shift right over here. Did we retest out this area here, which is the fair value gap? No, we did not. We're looking for bearish price action, bearish entries. And that looks pretty solid because it looks like it's right above the 50% mark. I'm going to draw my OTE fibs, which is this market structure high here, to our current market structure low. And as you can see there, that 0.62 overlaps with that fair value gap, which makes for a pretty decent entry, right? Bearish entry for gold. So we're going to remove the OTE fibs. We just got confirmation that that's a pretty solid play right there. And then you can also see that boom, fair value gap here, and then boom, displacement through the fair value gap. Now this is an inverted fair value gap. So now you got three different confluences. You have a market structure shift, right? Leaving behind a fair value gap. You have a bearish fair value gap that pretty much overlaps what used to be a bullish fair value gap. So now you have an inverted. That's number two. And then number three is you have your optimal trade entry fibs, your OTE fibs that overlap with the fair value gap in the premium zone while we are looking for a short, right? So three different confluences right there. We're looking for shorts. We're short biased on the lower time frames. Daily still has not confirmed price action shifting over to bearish. There's no market structure shift. And then the weekly is still bullish as well. So we'll be watching this area here. We're going to set an alert. And it's just about 24.24, right? We're going to label this area here too. I'm going to lock it down. I'm looking for shorts there. 4 hour. Fair value gap 50% mark. 7 alerts. 24.24. And let's see what happens, right? Moving my all-time high over here as well, because it looks like every week we're going to have a new all-time high. All right, let's bring you a little bit closer. Boom, boom, boom. Right there, all-time high 24.77. I'm not going to go any lower on the time frames. That's what I'm looking at right now. And then I have this. What was that? That should have been my daily. Yeah, that was the daily that I just made. Remove that. This looks good. It's clean. And then you have a fair value gap right here. Honestly, once this breaks through this fair value gap, it should go pretty parabolic and just rocket through all this. So I'd probably set like a buy order right there, like right above it. So like a buy order there and then just ride it up, honestly. We'll see how the price action plays out. Do something like that. Right? So I'll be looking at something like that. Alright, moving on to silver. Silver on the daily. What do you see? Silver, silver, silver. A lot of gaps. Like good gaps. Daily. Looks like we're in a range on the daily. Let's select the range. And then wherever it breaks out, it breaks out. We're going to color the range yellow. I like to put yellow for my ranges to establish that I'm in a range. These are kind of equal lows right here. Yeah, so it's kind of like in a range. Let's go down into the daily, to the 4 hour. I have a market structure shift right here. Boom. Fair value gap is left over behind. tapped into, completely disrespected it with inverted, continuation up, use that fair value gap as support, and then push up again. Now we disrespected this and this fair value gap by closing right here. All right, closes underneath it, retest it, and then dumps again. So I mean, looking at this chart, I don't really feel comfortable entering it. It is ranging, so maybe I'll go right back up. I don't know, right? It's ranging pretty hard. I don't see a clear direction. We could be looking into this area here for any market structure shifts on the lower time frame for bearish entries. And then anytime we're below here, we're looking for longs. Right? So here's the 50% mark. And then we'll just wait for a long setup here. Probably something like on the 5 or 15 minute. You're going to be looking for a market structure shift, kind of like this. Probably tap into that and then ride it all the way up to like this order block here. Or to the halfway point. But just watch it. You're going to probably see some price action move out and develop pretty well during the London session, right before going into the New York session. This is silver. So this is kind of like what you're looking for. You're looking for a market structure shift after what looks like kind of like a liquidity sweep over here, right? Even though this is kind of like an equal low to this. So I really wouldn't consider it too much like a liquidity sweep because we have equal lows here. So play very careful with this. This is probably your entry, 30.445, and then ride that up. Market structure here. And then we have market structure here. I'm gonna set a line there so I know that to my left, that's the lowest point of the market structure. Because this might actually just dump through here, sweep this, and then come up. Right? So we have to watch that carefully. Alright, that was on the 15 minute. We did daily 4 hour 15 minutes ranging, so we have to go on the lower time frames. Let's go to the next pair. It's going to be Euro USD. Euro USD, we're watching on the daily. We set this trend line together quite a bit ago. Right now it's testing out this trend line. I'm not a big trend line trader, but it's pretty cool doing the trend lines every once in a while and then just watching it react completely right. Right? Tapped into it, retracement. Tapped into it again, full retracement. Tapped into it again, full retracement. So I mean, it just has to break through it. Once it breaks through it, then we're going to confirm our way to the upside, and then we're going to be looking for more